Hey everyone, I'm back. I'm gonna finish up project 5 here. And I think I'm gonna do like I did on my black and white one and use some of the graphic marker work. I'm gonna start with using a ruler. And even though it's corked back so it doesn't bleed, I think I might do it upside down. It's been a little while since I walked away from this, so some of it's still wet, especially some of the chunky stuff, but I can make it work. Move my palette out of the way here. Here we go. Gonna outline the trapezoids and hope that they add a little crispness to the way the painting comes together. I have these pretty nice straight lines because I used the tape there. Try to paint or draw over some of the white. Yeah, I'm gonna like how this is gonna work. Trying to be careful of where I think there might still be a little bit of wet paint. Line both those up so that they're going to the same vanishing point. A little bumpy. Oops, picked it up. Make sure this looks parallel to the bottom one so I don't get it too crooked. Yeah, cool. I think that's pretty good. This looks a little wet. I'll be careful not to push it down too much. Again, I'm trying to be parallel to the one underneath. It's pretty good. I'm pushing the marker instead of pulling it, mostly so I can see. If I wasn't on camera, I might turn my board over, rotate it so that I can be using my arm in a good way. This still looks wet, so I'm gonna be real careful right there. That looks probably is a little wet, so be careful. Oops, paint on my ruler here. Get this palette out of the way. Find somewhere good to put it here. There we go. So again, I'm going to use the lines underneath to make sure I'm still parallel all the way through. Yeah, I got a little bit of paint there. Careful with that. Again, I'm trying to be parallel down below. Oh, I wish that line had been a little thinner, but that's okay. Oh yeah, it's starting to have that sense of depth because of those. And I'll go ahead and put in the circles in a minute. So here's where I'm going to try. I got a little crooked, like I'm looking at the edge here. See, I might do it a little off balance at the top. Maybe I can make the line thinner, or I could add a little paint if it isn't quite where I want it. I'm going to try to make this work. Okay. That looks a little wet, so I might come back to that. I know that's pretty wet, so I'm going to try to be careful through here. Go, it'll work. Try to clean up this corner. I can do a little detail or something with like dots or something there if it feels a little clunky. Again, I see that real chunky yellow paint, so I'm gonna be a little careful. Kind of holding it up a little. That trapezoid's a little off, so I'm gonna split the difference here. Yeah, that might be a problem. So I'll maybe do a little something to clean that up. But I like how it's starting to make it have a little bit of a graphic element to make the flyaways feel a little more ephemeral and have that movement that I was hoping for. Still looking at all the other lines to try to keep them kind of parallel. So I'm going to try to split the difference and bring this one up a little higher. I'm going to cut in front of that petal. I might paint that one back over. Again, looking at the green, trying to make sure they're even, and the white jumps out, but I think that would be okay. Yeah, it's a little offset. I'm okay with that. Oops. And these are real chunky, so I'm gonna be careful through here. Cool. Yeah, problematic, but I'll figure something out there. Yeah, that's pretty fun. And then here's where I have to decide if I'm going to use my tracers or not. I know when I did my black and white one, I had tried to freehand it and I wasn't super happy with it. So I think I'm going to go back and use the tracers. Give me 1 second, Henry. I'm almost done here. I know that petal is pretty wet, so I'm not putting it all the way down. My thumb is in the way. Ah, here we go. Yeah, it's a little offset, but I think that's okay. Oops. Stand up here. Yeah, I got a little bit of that picked up. Yeah, so it's a little junky there. So that's where I might do a little different. Oops. This guy. Yeah, they'll be a little warbly. Can't remember which tracers I used where. This is the one I used here. See where I have to go through here to here to there. Might have been a good idea to wait until it was a little drier, but it'll be all right. And it's pretty busy, so it's kind of, I think it's okay that it's a little crooked. I don't remember what I used here. I think it might have been this one. Maybe. Stand up again. Oops, gross. There's a little paint there. Oh well. Kind of holding it up off of that real chunky peach. Fun. Yeah, I got a little more paint. It's okay. Yeah, this is gonna, something's gonna have to give there. And then I have the one behind, which I think is this bigger bowl. And again, I'm still kind of looking to make sure I'm not squishing any of my paint too bad here. I think I can just kind of hold it up. There we go. Yeah, so here's where I'll have to make some decisions where I might clean some things up. I might look at my old painting and see I had some broken lines. Oh, this thing out here. Some other little broken lines, and that kind of hid some of the mix up where, and I remember when I did it on the black and white one, I did it in such a way that, you know, I was trying to bury some of the messy stuff. So like maybe here is where I could do some of this like stitching mark. Yeah, that'll work. That doesn't look very good. I might paint over that. I'm not super happy about that. This is a little warbly, so I think I might do some stitches there. And I'm kind of hoping this little bit of a broken line will give it some of that visual movement and a little bit of the ephemeralness. Yeah, that's really not good. I think I'm going to paint over that. I'm going to do it right now. Get some of my old paint out. I had sprayed some of this down a little bit before I left. And I know there's a lot of black under there, so I'm going to try and go with one of the more opaque colors. This little bit of peachish pink. Yeah, it's a little better. Maybe right there. Hide a couple spots. See if there's any other areas that seemed a little uncertain. It's getting closer. I think if I put the straight lines in this area, it might be okay. I might switch to a thinner marker for that part. think. This is like our Micron, just a different brand. Let me see. This is a 05. Maybe that. Maybe I'll do that. I'm gonna move my palette again. I think I want to put this in. This is all pretty tacky. I can make it work. I think I'm gonna offset it so that I don't have to worry about it lining up perfect. Oh wait, I don't want to use my Micron on my paint because that'll eat up my marker. Okay, I'm going to use the felt tip one again. So this is like my Sharpie, but I'm going to try and do it thin. And I'm going to let some of that light green kind of come out. I had talked on the last video about maybe repainting this negative space a different color. I'm still thinking about it. And I'm just wanting to make sure I'm parallel to the edge. And I'm just going to let some of that green bleed through. I think I'm okay with that. Oh, so much for a thin line. It's kind of a mess. I'll have to work on that. So here's that little spot that's warbly. I'm just going to run with it. I think in my black and white one, I had done this dotted line because it was a little easier to make around the curve. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy what it's doing, how it's really changing things. Put one more little edge over here. Again, I'm trying to make sure that I'm pretty parallel to my other marks. That's okay. Almost, honey. My son's looking for a popsicle. Get him one in a second here. I'll look back at this. I had some smaller stitches, so I might do that somewhere. Maybe on the center circle to make these relate. I don't know if I love that, but I'm gonna run with it. Yeah, okay, so then I might let it dry a little and maybe put some more whites in it, but maybe not. Now that it's starting to dry, they're feeling a little darker and richer in color and making these little whites that are a little bit gray kind of stand up against it some, which I like. So now the question is, should I come back into this one with a little pigment in the background? And I haven't decided. If anything, it's almost like I want to change this to look more like that. But I think for now, I'm going to leave it. I'll think about it, and maybe I'll do it when I reiterate it or revise it a little bit later. But let's see what happens when I peel the tape off. I think I'm ready to do it. So I'm going to peel it pretty slowly. Oops, it tore. You don't want to leave your tapes on too long, especially if they're in, like, if we were going back and forth to studio, if you were to like take a project home and put it in your car where it gets hot, or if it sits in a hot window, it can get a little fussy. You can take a blow dryer and kind of just heat up the adhesive a little bit before you peel it off. You notice I'm trying not to peel it off like a band-aid as much as I want to, so that if it starts to tear, I can kind of correct course. There we go. Ooh, it's gonna be fun with the border. I so wish the other one had the border. And I like that these little flyaways cut the picture plane. I think this tape is old. It sat in my car. It's a little fragile. Yeah, I can see where I'm having some issues. If you paint a really super thick edge of paint on the tape and you wait too long for it to dry, it creates a kind of thick skin that is hard to break that seal. So that's also why it's better to kind of not wait too long. I think I'm gonna make it. High hopes. Boy, I'm glad I tried that in my practice little paintings because I like it so much better with the false boundary. And I might like this beige better once it's against the white. I think I do. I like it too because it's that kind of mother color that went throughout all of these. So giving it a kind of sense of consistency in the color families. Okay, this is the big reveal. Yeah, I think I'll leave it for now. And like I said, maybe put a couple more whites, but I'm thinking I'm liking these brighter whites just in those receding trapezoids that kind of look like crosswalks or Tron. Here's the first one. So we have our achromatic grayscale brand identity for ephemeral blooms with a static design, and then we have our more dynamic design and color for the same company. Yeah, I think that's it. If your board is warping, this is a different brand, so it was a little started to curl, and it's curling where I had thick paint and thin paint. I can take this and put like a piece of newsprint over it, or another sheet of Bristol or older sheet of sketchbook paper or something, and I can press it with books over them, or I can wrap it in newsprint and iron it on the back real quick, and that can kind of make it lay down too. But I think that's it for now. Okay, I will touch base with a recap of this here in a little bit, and hopefully you have fun making yours. I can't wait to see them. Thanks, everybody.